Julian Alvarez is not just another striker in La Liga.
Es un jugador extraordinario, que no sé cómo hace para patear esos tiros libres, que la pelota se cae y cuando ya sale va para adentro. Me hace acordar un poco a Pantic cuando pateaba esos tiros libres fantásticos en la puerta del área. Y la verdad que es un futbolista.
He is the forward who is quietly tearing Spanish football apart, one match at a time. The Argentine has stepped into the role of a complete blending intelligence, technique, and a killer instinct that makes him impossible to contain. Every movement off the ball feels calculated. Every run, a trap for defenders who dare to lose sight of him. He understands space better than most players in the world, always lurking on the edge of the offside line, ready to explode into the box at the perfect second. When Alvarez attacks the back of a defense, there is rarely a way to stop him without fouling, and Spain's giants have already felt his bite. Real Madrid have been his favorite victim, knocked out of the Champions League. Humiliated across two legs, and punished again with 2 more goals this season. It is not a coincidence, it is a pattern. Julian Alvarez rises to the biggest occasions. Barcelona too have been stung by his precision, a reminder that he does not hide when the lights shine brightest. With Manchester City, the so-called Big Six of the Premier League never felt safe when he was on the pitch. With Argentina, he has carried the weight of a nation, guiding them to the ultimate prize, a World Cup. And Copa America. As if destiny was written in his boots. He is only 25, but already he has collected the kind of trophies that most players only dream about. World champion, Champions League winner, Copa Libertadores, Copa America, Premier League. Wherever he goes, silverware follows. It is in his DNA. And yet, what makes him terrifying is not only his record, but the way he makes even ordinary teams look extraordinary. At Atletico Madrid, a side often accused of lacking attacking spark, Alvarez has revived them, playing as if he was wearing the shirt of a European giant. 29 goals and 8 assists last season announced his arrival as the most dangerous forward in Spain. This year, even under Simeone's cautious system, he's already produced 6 goals and an assist. And once again, his sharpest blade has been reserved for Real Madrid, Los Blancos, confirming that he is the nightmare they cannot wake up from. Alvarez does not play scared. He thrives when the pressure is highest. He has shown it in Champions League nights, in World Cup knockouts, in Copa Libertadores finals. There is a reason his nickname is La Araña, the spider. Every time you think you have escaped his web, he finds another way to trap you. Julian Alvarez is not only the best striker in La Liga right now, he is dining at the table of legends, forcing Spain and Europe to admit that a new giant has arrived. And whether in Manchester, Madrid, or Barcelona, one truth keeps echoing louder. Alvarez always wins. Julian Alvarez is living weeks that prove he's not just another striker. He is a world star. His hat-trick against Rayo Vallecano and his brace against Real Madrid, including a free kick that fell straight out of Messi's playbook, have placed him at the center of every headline in the world.
La otra lectura del partido que está haciendo mucha gente, te lo pregunto Mario directamente, es mientras Julián Álvarez tenga las 2 piernas en condiciones, tiene que estar en el campo. No se le puede sacar del campo.
These are not random moments. Alvarez is delivering the kind of performance that only players destined for greatness can produce. Years ago, Antoine Griezmann said he was eating at the same table as Messi and Cristiano. Today, that seat belongs to Alvarez.
La ignorancia es muy atrevida, ¿no? Es cierto.
In big games, he doesn't hide, he shines. An Argentine humiliating Real Madrid, scoring free kicks with precision, stepping up when the pressure is highest. It is impossible not to draw the comparison with Messi, but now The story is written in red and white.
La ignorancia es muy atrevida, ¿no? Es cierto.
Yet here comes the paradox. Alvarez looks too big for Atletico Madrid. His brilliance explodes even inside a system that restricts him, a defensive structure that values resistance over creativity. And that is the real question. What would happen if Alvarez played in a team built to attack, in a project that maximized every run and every touch? What if he joined a side like Hansi Flick's Barcelona, a machine designed to dominate and never to sit back?
¿Y a quién ficharías para el Barça?
Como dije la última vez, a Julian Alvarez.
At the Metropolitano, he has been given the keys. Simeone has made him the centerpiece, the man through whom every ball moves. Corners, free kicks, set pieces, everything is his responsibility. But the question remains, how long can a striker of this level be contained in a system that holds him back rather than unleashes him? His transfer fee of 75 million plus 20 in bonuses once looked heavy. Today, it looks like a bargain. 29 goals and almost 10 assists in a season where Atletico struggled in Europe show his value. He wasn't even on the final list for the Ballon d'Or, but his individual level was above his own club's collective ceiling. Like Spider-Man, who falls but always rises stronger, Alvarez has had his revenge. That resilience, that ability to come back sharper, makes you believe one day Atletico will simply be too small for him, because players of this caliber do not wait forever. Julian Alvarez's last derby against Real Madrid had ended in pure nightmare. His infamous double-touch penalty miss sent Atletico crashing out of the Champions League at the Metropolitano in the round of 16 back in March. It was the kind of moment that can haunt a player forever. Atletico were furious. The fans felt robbed, and many inside the club still believed justice was not served.
De los que está acá presente, vio que la pelota la tocó 2 veces Julián, levante la mano.
Yo te pregunto,
¿Quién levanta la mano? Vamos, vamos. ¿Quién levanta la mano? ¿Quién levanta la mano? Bien, ¿quién tocó la pelota 2 veces Julián? No la levanta nadie. Listo, otra pregunta.
The controversy even forced IFAB to tweak the rules so that the accidental double touch would no longer be punished. But football always offers a second chance. And when Alvarez stood over the spot again in another derby, the ghosts of that moment were impossible to ignore. The scoreboard read 2-2. The pressure was suffocating, and VAR forced him to wait for almost a full minute before he could take the kick. The weight of history was heavy on his shoulders. And yet, Alvarez showed exactly why he's not just another striker. Calm, cold, and ruthless. He struck the ball with full conviction, blasting it to Courtois' left. The Madrid keeper guessed correctly. But the power and precision were too much. The net rippled, the Metropolitano exploded, and Alvarez had his revenge. This wasn't just a goal, it was a statement, a reminder that Julian Alvarez thrives in the moments of maximum pressure. He doesn't hide from the spotlight, he wants it. He embraces the chaos, turns the noise into fuel, and steps up when others would crumble. This is what separates a good forward from a true world-class star. There are players who only shine against weak opposition, others who sometimes step up in the big nights, and then there are the very few who always deliver when the stage is brightest. Julian Alvarez belongs to that rare third group. From the World Cup to La Liga, from the Champions League to derbies, he has built a reputation as the man who thrives when the pressure is suffocating. His Maradona-style goal against Croatia and Qatar announced him to the world as more than just a promising forward. It showed that he had the instincts, courage, and execution to define matches on the highest stage possible. For Argentina, he has always been a breaker of locks, the man to unlock Brazil in the qualifiers when no one else could. For Manchester City, he was a striker Pep Guardiola turned to whenever Erling Haaland stalled, and in fact, it was in that very role where Alvarez first began to torment his now favorite victims, Real Madrid, striking in the Champions League when few gave him a chance. His venom was not reserved for Spain's giants. In England, the Spider sank his teeth into the Premier League's Big Six. Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, never hiding from the physicality or the occasion. And since arriving in La Liga, he has followed the same pattern. In the most difficult games imaginable, against Barcelona and Real Madrid, he has written his name in the score sheets and reminded the world that big games are his natural habitat.
وعدك يا تانجو أنك بثوب مونديالي يمشي ويحط الثاني جوليان ألفاريز جولاسو.
That was confirmed in his most recent derby, where his goals not only secured the points, but sent a clear message. Alvarez is one of the world's premier forwards, a player who would walk into the starting 11 of any club on the planet. Atletico knew they were making a heavy investment when they brought him in, but matches like these prove it was money spent wisely, even if Simeone's defensive cage sometimes limits his brilliance. The numbers only underline what the eye test already screams. 6 goals and 1 assist in La Liga so far put him just behind Mbappe in the scoring charts. A reminder that he is keeping pace with the best in the world. The run began with a consolation strike on opening day against Espanyol, a match his team lost, but in which Alvarez still found the net. Then came the explosion, a hat-trick against Rayo Vallecano that rescued a 3-2 win almost single-handedly. Followed by a brace against Xabi Alonso's Madrid that lit up the Metropolitano. Add in his assist to Pablo Barrios against Villarreal, and it is clear that this is not a purple patch, but a consistent, elite-level performer who lives for the hardest moments. The frightening part of this story, the part that feels like a golden cage, is that Atletico Madrid have built an entire project around Julian Alvarez. Every penny of their big investment, every tactical adjustment from Simeone revolves around getting the best out of the Argentine. In many ways, keeping all proportion, Alvarez is to Atletico what Messi was once to Barcelona, the player at the center of everything. The difference? Messi had a team stacked with the best in the world, capable of dominating every competition. Julian, meanwhile, is in a club that can fight in every tournament, but are rarely true favorites to win. This is the paradox.
En todas las personas y vamos a llegar de la misma manera que llegamos siempre al Bernabéu.
Alvarez has his own kingdom, but it may also become his prison, a realm where he shines, scores, and carries the badge with pride, but with the looming sadness that the big trophies might never arrive. Atletico are strong, yes, but in the area of billion-euro giants like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, or Chelsea, the rojiblancos always seem a step behind. Simeone himself has acknowledged Alvarez's importance. Evidently, Julian Alvarez is the best player we have, and we need him. He lives for goals, he came for goals, and we need his best version. After his stunning free kick, the Cholo even admitted, "I don't even know how he hits the ball like that. It looks like it's going wide, and then it goes in." And still, what he values most is the humility, how he runs. Even being a world champion, we have to protect him so that he stays many years here and makes history at Atletico. Julian feels loved, he feels important, but here lies the cruel twist. He may be destined to become a genius trapped in a club that can't match his ceiling. Atletico under Simeone have come close to 2 Champions League finals, 2 La Liga titles in 13 years, but history shows they are more often the nearly team than the conquering one. The comparison writes itself. Francesco Totti, a legend, world champion, Golden Boot winner, Serie A champion, the eternal symbol of Roma. Yet, for all his greatness, his trophy cabinet looks modest next to the true titans, and Totti himself once reflected on Messi. If Lionel had spent 25 years in Rome, would he have won 10 Ballon d'Ors? I don't think so. That's the uncomfortable reality. Julian Alvarez is world class, a striker with the spirit of a champion, but at Atletico, his collective ambitions look limited, and even individually, Simeone's defensive system risks dimming the full extent of his brilliance. And that brings us to the real question. The cliff edge we'll explore in the next block. Is Julian Alvarez too big for Atletico Madrid? Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid are defined by one thing above all else: defensive obsession. For over a decade, the Cholo has built an empire on grit, organization, and collective sacrifice. Every player, from the striker to the last defender, is expected to press, harass, and close every passing lane until the opponent suffocates. The midfield works as a single unit, chasing, tackling, disrupting the rhythm of the game, while the backline stays compact and unbreakable. In low blocks, Atletico often settles into a 5-3-2 or a 5-4-1, closing the center, forcing teams wide, and waiting to pounce on mistakes. This is why, season after season, Simeone's side remains one of the most resilient defensive units in world football. And yet, what makes Atletico fearsome also makes them predictable. Their high pressing, their relentless transitions, their deep blocks, all of it is designed to protect their goal first, and only then think about scoring. For most strikers, this can be suffocating. You'll spend more time tracking back and pressing defenders than actually receiving the ball where you want it, close to goal. Julian Alvarez, however, has the qualities to thrive in this machine. He knows how to drop from the box, how to link play in tight spaces. He presses like a dog, and he knows how to connect with midfielders breaking through lines. His energy suits Simeone's demands perfectly. His intensity mirrors the very ethos of Atletico. In transition, he is lethal, the perfect forward to chase loose balls, stretch defenses, and attack the space between center backs and fullbacks. In that sense, the Cholo system amplifies his fighting spirit. But here lies the paradox. The same system that highlights his hunger, his pressing, and his ability to combine also chains his talent. A forward like Julian doesn't just live off defensive transitions. He needs freedom in possession. He needs a team that builds to put him constantly near the box, a side that treats attacks not as an exception, but as a rule. And Simeone's philosophy, brilliant as it is defensively, will always limit the ceiling of an attacker who has proven he can live and score at the very highest level. Julian Alvarez fits Atletico like a glove, but that glove may also be too tight, restraining the true elegance and creativity of a forward who could flourish even more in an attack-minded side like Barcelona or even his old Manchester City. And that's the scary truth. Atletico maximizes his fight, but minimizes his football. If we imagine Julian Alvarez in a Barcelona shirt under Hansi Flick, the contrast with Simeone's Atletico becomes almost frightening. Atletico, despite investing in names like Alex Baena, Giacomo Raspadori, Thiago Almada, or even trusting in Griezmann, Giuliano Simeone, and Sørloth, remain a team that scored just 68 goals last season. Barcelona, by comparison, reached 170. That figure alone is not just a statistic. It is a reflection of a footballing environment built for constant creation, movement, and superiority in the final third. For a forward whose main virtues lie in his movement off the ball, timing of runs, and instinct in finalization zones, the jump would feel like going from a cage to an open field. Pedri is the first player who would change the equation. His ability to dictate tempo in tight spaces, to disguise passes and break lines with one touch would give Alvarez the type of service he rarely sees at Atletico. Pedri's 89% passing accuracy is not about saved passes. It is about verticality, threading balls into half spaces where a striker like Alvarez thrives. His constant scanning makes him a master of timing, and when you combine that with Alvarez's sharp body profiles on the offside line, you are talking about an automatic stream of chances. Rafinha, on the other hand, provides a completely different but equally lethal dimension. Where Pedri offers control and timing, Rafinha delivers unpredictability. His ability to cut inside from the right, to attack with both feet, and to release quick through balls or whipped crosses adds volume to any forward. With Alvarez, the Brazilian would not just be a winger, he would be a trigger. Julian's ability to pause his run at the penalty spot, to attack either post, or to appear between lines waiting for Rafinha's cutback would make this connection devastating. And Rafinha's work rate matches Alvarez's humility and intensity, forming a pressing duo that fits perfectly with Flick's high-intensity football. And then there is Lamine Yamal. He has already become the most productive playmaker in world football, topping the charts for assists. Yamal's genius lies in his unpredictability on the ball. He can accelerate, decelerate, or simply pass you by with his dribbling. For Alvarez, Having a winger who constantly destabilizes defenses means one thing: space. And Julian has shown at River, City, and now Atletico that when he sees half a meter of space in the box, he can punish. Yamal's habit of cutting in and looking for diagonal passes to the striker is tailor-made for Alvarez's vertical instincts. Flick's system is not static. It is a 4-2-3-1 that morphs into a 4-3-3 or even a 2-3-5 in attacking phases. That means Alvarez would constantly be surrounded by players who know how to overload zones, recycle possession, and find the extra man. Compare that to Atletico, where the focus is on compressing space, pressing, and countering, often leaving Alvarez isolated. In Barcelona, he would never be alone. He would always have Pedri behind him, Yamal on one side, Rafinha or Rashford on the other, and runners like De Jong or Balde breaking lines. Tactically, it means his movement into half spaces would be rewarded instead of wasted. His ability to drop as a second striker would not be about survival, but about creation, linking with Pedri in tight triangles. His one-touch layoffs would find immediate continuity with midfielders trained to attack space. His pressing, far from being an isolated effort, would be part of Flick's synchronized high block, maximizing recoveries near the box and multiplying his chances to finish. In Atletico, Alvarez feels like the centerpiece of a defensive sculpture, the golden cage that keeps him as their star, but restricts his potential. In Barcelona, he would be a spearhead, part of an attacking orchestra that could elevate his numbers to levels we have not yet seen. His 29 goals last season would not be the ceiling. In a team that produced 170, it could easily be the starting point. That is why the idea of Alvarez in Blaugrana is terrifying. Not because he is good, but because it would unlock a version of him that Simeone's system can never allow.